Welcome to What the No-Co, where we get to know the people, businesses, and heroes that make this community special. I'm Anthony Cassell, owner of A&R Home Team, and your host. Now let's go meet Northern Colorado. So I'm going for a walk. I'm getting ready to edit a video, and I just had a quick thought. This one was really special to me. I've known Bob Younger for 15 years. Not only is he a highly decorated police officer, but he's also an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur. He's a true inspiration who spent his life serving others. And I got the incredible opportunity the other day to interview him and spend some time with him, to hear about his remarkable journey. Thank you, Bob. Let's get started. Hey, how's it going? I'm good. How are you?
Good, man.
All right.
Good.
Thanks for coming. Today, we have a very special guest. We actually have a true hero in the community, local law enforcement, and he has a renowned photography studio in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is Bob Younger.
How you doing, Anthony? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Sure. So Bob Younger, like Anthony said, I've been in law enforcement for 27 years. 24 of them, 23 of them here locally in a Northern Colorado law enforcement agency, and which is where I met Anthony, working in the bars in the area that we live here. And Anthony and I have known each other, I don't know, since 2004, 2005, somewhere in there. Just really like this guy, and he's doing some great things now with his business, and so I'm excited to talk.
Thanks. When you say you were in law enforcement and that's how you met me, it kind of sounds like I was arrested.
No, you were not. You were not arrested. No, he wasn't.
A couple times. No, I used to work in my younger years. I used to work at music venues, and you were on that beat.
Yeah. So we spent a lot of time chatting with each other late at night and hanging out.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, you weren't. You were good.
Now you have this photography.
I do.
Company.
I do.
We're actually in your studio.
We are. Bob Younger Images studio here.
Yeah.
I'm right here in Old Town on Linden, 237 Linden. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing the photography stuff?
So it's kind of a weird story. I bought a digital camera in 2015, and then in 2017 the opportunity came to jump into this space, and so I couldn't refuse. So my good friend Pat Stryker owns the building, and her and the Bohemian offered me a deal on this space, and it was great. So since 2017 I've been in here, and constantly growing, constantly working. Looking for opportunities to do this 100% full-time, because now I'm doing it full-time plus my other job full-time, and we know how much fun that is. So, so working on totally expanding. I've got my good friend Brian Edmond of Bookend Photography. He's in here now, and he's offering videography and photos as well. So we're working together, making this space awesome and making it a place where people can kind of come and collaborate on photography. We can do some really cool photos. I mean, we do some amazing stuff. So pretty excited.
When you were just being law enforcement, were you still into photography? Have you been into it your whole life and then just decided to?
Yeah, interesting. There's some cameras back behind me, and my dad went to Vietnam in 1968, and so I was born in 70. So he came back and he had a Canon FTQL, which is an old film camera. And when I was about 14, I took up film photography. We lived in Yellowstone for a year, and I started taking photos. But back then, you couldn't see what was on the back of the camera and know whether you screwed it up or not. Okay. So I'd have to take pictures. I wrote down on a notebook all the stuff I did. I'd mail the film off. 2 weeks later, the pictures come back. And then I'd be like, oh man, I fucked that up. Well, that sucks. So now I got to start over. So I kind of learned by trial and error through film photography. And most photographers who have done film photography have a little insight that most just plain digital photographers don't have. But they also have appreciation for the work and effort that went into that type of photography, which is completely different now. Now you can just take a picture and look at the back of the camera and like, I need to do something different on this. But now, that's a little bit different. But so in 2015, I bought myself a camera and started taking pictures, posting them on Facebook. And I got people like, hey, can I pay you to take some family pictures? Can I do this? Can I do that? And it turned into something that I had not expected. I never expected to be an entrepreneur, never expected to own a business. Never expected to be into photography. It just was stuff that just kind of happened.
So it sort of happened organically.
Yeah,
That's
completely
good.
organically.
Let's take it way back
Yeah.
to the beginning. What got you into law enforcement?
I actually worked for the National Park Service for a couple of summers, and I was a park ranger that gave tours in a cave at Wind Cave National Park in South Dakota. And I really enjoyed that interaction and engagement with people. And from that, I started seeing how the park rangers did their job. And I thought that was really interesting. And then this is going to sound so totally goofy, but I'm going to say it anyway. After that, I started having these weird dreams. So I was a geologist, of all things. So I was a geologist for 4 years.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I worked for an environmental firm in the Kansas City area, and I would travel and soil sample, water sample, and go out to all these different unique locations across the states. But I kept waking up with these weird dreams like I was a cop, and it was just so weird, which is unusual for me because I have a terrible time remembering my dreams. I'm not a dreamer as far as I know. And so I said something to my wife at the time, Michelle, a couple of times, like, I keep having these weird dreams. And I said, and I'm doing this work as a geologist, and I was going out to like some really exciting places like Des Moines, Iowa, and Clinton, Missouri, places that really sucked. And I did not like that job very much at all. So I'm like, maybe I'll explore something different. So I applied to a few places in Kansas City and got some job offers and started working for Overland Park Police, and then eventually moved out to Northern Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And that was back when you were in your 20s. You were
yeah.
having these
So
dreams.
I was 27 when I changed careers from being a geologist to a cop.
Mhm. What is your experiences on being a cop?
You
What do
know,
you rate that?
Well, I tell you what, honestly, overall job satisfaction is a 10. It's a great, great job. There are times that it's challenging, obviously. There are times that you get into scraps or have to use force, or you have to see things that really no human being should have to see. And those times are the hard times. But being able to help people, being able to be with somebody in their worst moment, being able to help them through something has been great. I have developed some amazing relationships. I mean, all the people that you and I know together are people that are still my friends today, and I connect with on a regular basis, and they run the gamut of owning bars to owning retail stores to being real estate agents. I've known some that have gone off to start their own businesses to do other stuff like junk hauling. Like friend Mike Howard does that.
Oh yeah, I use him a lot.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Shout out to Mike Howard.
Mike Howard
Hulk
with Hulk
Addicts.
Addicts. Hulk Addicts, great guy, great business. And so things like that, I have built these relationships through this career that's really amazing. And anytime you can have a job that helps people, right, is great. The downside to it is obviously there are times when it's not so fun. There's times where people are critical. They don't understand how you do your job or why you do your job. I use the analogy that people want law and order and they want structure in society, but a lot of times they don't want to see how it's done or know how it's done. They just trust that it gets done. Well, that part about seeing and knowing and understanding is a hard part for some people. I think it's important to learn and ask questions. And I have treated people in my job like $1 million every single time. And I think, you may have seen that. My purpose in doing the job I do is slightly God-based. I feel like I'm doing a service, but it's also just treating people like human beings and recognizing we're all fallible. We all make mistakes. We all have weaknesses and vices, and recognizing that doesn't make you a bad person is super important to me.
How do you manage to juggle being a police officer with the photography? Because you've won awards with photography. It's not like a rinky-dink organization.
Yeah, we should call my wife and ask her how well I do that.
Yeah, can we get her on the line?
Yeah, no. I would say it's a challenge, right? Because I'm still working a 40+ hour a week job, and then I'm doing this, and this can be anywhere from 20 to 40 hours a week as well. I think it's important, and if I could give any advice to new entrepreneurs, the thing I would tell them is that you really need to make sure that the job is working for you and you're not working for the job. If that makes sense. So anything I do that's related to this business has to work for me either personally or financially, right? And it's really important to allow that balance to occur and be conscious and intentional with your time. So for me, for instance, yesterday was Sunday. Sunday's my time that's for me and for my family, for my wife, for my kids. I don't plan business stuff on Sundays. I don't do shoots. I don't do stuff like that on Sundays. Now, if there was somebody came to me and said, oh, I can only do it on Sunday, then that's where I would meet my wife in the middle. It's like, hey, would this work for you? How about we do Monday as our day together instead of Sunday or whatever? But I really want to be intentional about that time. The other thing too is that you have to really think about like how late in the day do you want this job to consume you, right? So I will make lists and perform tasks and stuff, and then I'll have a cutoff, 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Because as an entrepreneur, you're constantly working on stuff. And then after that time, that's when my time stops.
I've had those conversations many a time. For me, on my calendar, my Friday is your Sunday.
Oh, good.
Friday is my day, but then things always pop up on Friday.
It's really hard. I'm sure being in the real estate business too is really hard. I have some friends who are real estate agents, and they're like, yeah, we end up coming in, and it's like I have to take a phone call, I have to meet a client, I have to write up a deal, and that can be a challenge. I know that the balance for that is hard, but just having intentionality and knowing when to unplug. I don't know if you're familiar with Matt Schaub of M&E Painting. He's a good friend of mine. I went to Spain with him and some other great gentlemen, including Brian from Bookend Photography. And we went to Spain in September, and one of the purposes of that trip was to unplug, because we spend so much time like connected to our devices and connected to email and text messages and things. You're in another country, so you're a completely opposite time zone. And the challenge was to just disconnect, not be part of something other than that time you have together. And one of the things that taught me was to be intentional about being present in the moment. Being present in the moment is one of those things I think that as entrepreneurs and people who are committed to doing a really good job at whatever you do is really hard. Being present. So this is our time. I'm present in this moment right now. I put my phone off to the side. I turned it off. This is our time. And I think, you have to do that same thing with personal stuff. Like, it's my time to go for a walk. It's my time to spend with my wife or my kids. Or it's my time to spend on my business. Like, today's the day I've got to focus on this. Here's a list of things I need to accomplish. I'm going to work on that. Before, I'd be all over the place. I'd be like, oh, family stuff. Now I'm going to sprinkle in a little business. Now I'm going to sprinkle in some family stuff. I'm going to sprinkle in a little business and job. And it got to where it was very stressful because I couldn't manage well. So I think being intentional and having a plan for setting that time aside and compartmentalizing that is very important.
The business side of things will always try to intrude on every other aspect of life. I'm taking your advice right now.
Yeah. Being intentional and being present.
It's I fumble my way through that. Tell us about your photography studio. What services do you offer?
Yeah, I do it all, and I'm trying to not do it all because I just love the challenge of somebody comes to me with a new challenge. I try to do that. So sometimes that's me kind of like, okay, I need to focus a little bit more. But I do a lot of fitness, fashion, boudoir, family stuff, senior portraits. I absolutely love senior portraits, commercial stuff. So on Wednesday, I'm going out for a large construction company that makes construction heavy equipment.
Okay.
I'm going to go out and do a full day of shooting for them, for their products and their stuff. So I'm kind of all over the place. But if I had to narrow it down to things I really love doing, it's portraiture. Like anything with people I love doing. I have landscapes and done landscapes, and that's kind of where I cut my teeth into photography. But I really, really enjoy people because I love interacting with people. And I love that feeling when somebody sees the back of the camera and they go, oh my God. Like, especially women who some women might suffer from lower self-esteem or have this misperception about how people view them.
Sure.
I can show them that somebody else is seeing them in a way that they've never seen themselves. That's a high. That's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, I love doing that.
What are some memorable moments? You've won awards from some of just the still portraits that you've taken.
Yeah, interestingly enough, we looked at a photo coming in here. When I first opened my studio, I was trying to learn stuff, right? So whenever you're doing something you're trying to learn, you can read about it, you can watch videos about it, but you learn the most when you actually do. And I think sometimes for some entrepreneurs and some business people, it's hard to put themselves out there in an uncomfortable position to try something new, but I'm willing to do that pretty regularly. So I had a guy walk by and I'm like, oh God, he's got a great look. So I ran out, grabbed him and said, hey, would you come in? Can I just take your picture? And he's like, yeah, I guess. And he comes in and he had a backpack on. He was carrying a skateboard. He starts taking that stuff off. I'm like, no, just stand right over here, exactly as you are. So as a visual, this guy had long curly hair. He's got these round glasses. He's got a skateboard. He's got grease under his fingernail, paint on his shirt.
Hipster,
vagrant looking kind of a guy carrying a skateboard. And I took one picture of him. I said, hey man, thanks a bunch. I really appreciate it. And he leaves. And so then I take that picture and I put it into the computer and I start looking at in the software and I'm like, this is a really cool shot. This is a really awesome shot. Like, it captures an essence that I of this guy that was just really cool. Like you can see, like he works hard, but he enjoys doing stuff on his own. He has his own personality.
Just one snap.
One snap. And so after I took that picture, I thought, you know what, I want to enter this into some competitions, but I don't know who this guy is. I got to get his permission. And so I spent the next 1.5 to 2 years on social media looking for this guy. And finally somebody recognized him, came up with his Facebook name, which was Barlow Baggins's, of all things.
Okay.
And I found him on Facebook. I reached out to him. Oh, I'm on the Western Slope. I'm working here, working there. Eventually he comes by the studio one day. And I'm like, oh my God, can I get you to sign this release? I want to show your picture to the world. And he did. And I submitted that, and I won an international award. I won a lens with it. And it just goes to show that, like, I believe strongly in serendipitous moments and learning opportunities. And if you can combine the two, like that was a serendipitous moment that he walked by.
Yeah.
It was a learning opportunity for me to try something I'd never tried before. I'm like, let's do it.
And you've got the eye for this, obviously.
Well,
snap.
I think for me, when people say, oh, you got the eye or whatever, I don't consider myself an artist or a creative. People say that all the time. Oh, you're an artist, you're creative. I think for me, it's just I'm passionate about it. And I think when you're passionate about something, stuff happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you might be passionate about doing your podcast or real estate. When you're passionate about something, stuff comes from it.
Sure. How can people best get a hold of you?
So you can find me on the web, bobyoungerimages.com. Same Facebook, same Instagram, you name it, I probably have it in social media. My daughters, they range from 15 to 27, teach me stuff on social media all the time. I'm like, help me do this, I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, so on social media, you can call me at 970-966-0438 and love to help you with whatever it is. I love doing headshots and commercial stuff. So, one of the things I do is I offer headshot parties. So a real estate agency can come in, or a doctor's office, and music, appetizers, and everybody gets a cool headshot. And it's a time to have like a meeting or a get together, kind of a team building thing. So I do that. So yeah, lots of opportunities.
I think I need to do that.
Let's do it.
I need to bring my team in here. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me. I think it's been a joy.